Hello once again. This is your Professor Danny Kabulay on the course Accounting Information Systems. And we are still on Chapter 4, the Revenue Cycle. And this is Part 2. This is video lecture number 7. And at this juncture, we're going to talk about automating the revenue cycle. So you see, authorizations and data access can be performed through computer screens. That means gone are the days that we still have to work on a lot of forms and a lot of documents. Now everything is automated, everything is electronic. So even the official receipts are electronic. So they're passed on from one user to another electronically. Okay, so we get rid of all this bunch of paper works and booklets that we used to fill out using the manual system. So there is a decreased amount of use of paper, which is good for the environment. The manual journals and ledgers are changed to disk or tape transaction and master files. So everything is again soft copy. And nowadays, they are being saved on cloud, so that means you don't lose your files really. It's just stored up there in the cloud, okay? So that means even if your files are infected by virus or they disappear or they accidentally get deleted, well, the saving grace now is that your as long as you do your backup regularly, then your files are safe and intact. The input is still typically from a hard copy document and goes through one or more computerized processes. So for those of you who use the combination, the hybrid of manual and electronic, some people still get to use the paper forms, but in this modern day and age, it's rare because everything is done electronically. So customers will purchase online, they get their receipt online also, their payments are made online. So then the goods are delivered. And proof of delivery is also made online. Processes store data in electronic files, the tape or disk, or prepare data in the form of a hard copy report. So that's for the hybrid type of systems. Revenue cycle programs can include formatted screens for collecting data, edit checks on data entered, instructions for processing and storing the data, security procedures, so you need to use passwords and other user IDs, steps for generating and displaying output. To understand files, you must consider the record design and layout. The documents and the files used as input sources must contain the data necessary to generate output reports. So computer-based accounting systems can be viewed as a continuum of two extremes. So either you automate them or you re-engineer them. What do we mean by this? By automation, we mean we use technology to improve efficiency and effectiveness. So you're trying to computerize a particular operation. Okay, for example, billing system or maybe collection system, etc. Re-engineering means that you use technology to restructure business processes and firm organization as a whole. That means there are certain steps that are omitted and you probably do the transaction in a different way, okay? Not just making them electronic copies, but you're changing completely. Even the people who are processing them, okay? So there's gonna be a lot of revamp in the organization and maybe changing some of the steps and procedures. So an example of an automated batch sales is shown in slide number 36. So you could see how transaction moves from the point of sales to the time that credit is made, to the time that the computer department processes all the transactions onto the warehouse and shipping. Now, when you talk about re-engineering sales order processing using real-time technology, manual procedures and physical documents are replaced by interactive computer terminals. Real-time input and output occurs with some master files still being updated using batches. So you can use real-time or batch processing. So real-time processing means entry of customer order, print out of stock release, packing slip, and bill of lading. You need to update also credit file, inventory file, and open sales order file. So that is required using real-time processing. Meanwhile, when you talk about batch processing, print out of invoice, update of closed sales order through the journal, accounts receivable, and general ledger accounts control are done in batches. So you can see an example of how it is done uh, through slide number 38 when you talk about real-time sales order processing. What are the advantages of real-time processing? Well, there are plenty. Number one, it shortens the cash cycle of the firm by reducing the time between the order date and billing date. There's better inventory management, which can lead to a competitive advantage. Fewer clerical errors, reducing incorrect items being shipped and bill discrepancies. It reduces the amount of expensive paper documents and their storage cost. Meanwhile, when you talk about re-engineered cash receipts, the mailroom is a frequent target for re-engineering because that is seen as the hub of many of the transactions. Companies send their customers pre-printed envelopes and remittance advices. Upon receipt, these envelopes are scanned to provide a controlled procedure against theft. Machines are open. Machines are open to the envelopes. Uh, Rather, the machines open the envelopes and they scan remittance advices and checks and separate the checks. Artificial intelligence may be used to read handwriting, such as remittance amounts and signatures. So an example of this would be in slide 41, where you can see the flowchart for automated cash receipts. Now, point of sale systems are modern cash registers. In the olden days, we used to have the traditional cash register, wherein there are three main functions of which that is to record sales transaction, to use as a storage for cash. So there's a lot of compartments for money bills. And number three, it is used also to produce reports. Nowadays, when you talk about cash register, they're kind of obsolete now. So the modern cash register is electronic. So it now has an additional feature. It now is linked to your inventory. So as you make a sale, for example, nakabenta ka ng isang produkto, automatic nababawasan na yung record mo sa inventory. So nakalink na siya. It's not just for receiving cash, but it's also linked now to your inventory. So your inventory is currently updated. Okay? So you would know exactly if you are running short of a particular item in the stocks. So you need to reorder, for example. So again, it is linked also to your purchasing. Okay? So modern point of sale systems are common in many retail outlets. So pag pumunta ka sa supermarket, sa groceries, even sa drugstore o sa mga department stores, you will notice the POS being used has a screen and also has a keyboard and has a compartment for money also. Okay? So point of sale systems are used extensively in retail establishments. Customers pick the inventory from the shelves and take them to a cashier. The clerk scans the Universal Product Code or UPC. So yung tinatawag natin na barcode. The POS system is connected to an inventory file where the price and description are retrieved. The inventory levels are updated and reorder needs can immediately be detected. Malalaman natin kung short na tayo on particular item. The system computes the amount due. The payment is either cash, check, ATM, or credit card in many cases. There are no accounts receivable here because everything is cash transaction. If checks, the amount or ATM or credit sales are used, an online link to the receive approval is necessary. So that means, does the person have a credit line? Is the credit card recognized by the bank or by the outlet, accepted by the outlet? Is the ATM with uh, with a balance that will be sufficient to pay for the bill? Okay, at the end of the day, or a cashier shift, the money and the receipts in the drawer are reconciled to the internal cash register tape or a printout from the computer's database. Cash over and under must be recorded. Ibig sabihin, lahat ng nakolektang cash na cash sales, no, plus lahat yung mga nabenta na hindi cash, non-cash sales, like for example, credit card or ATM, are being tallied. So dapat magtatali siya, no, dun sa paper tape. So at the end of each shift ng isang cashier, yan ay nire-reconcile. So, hindi pwedeng magkaroon ng cash or over. Magkakaroon lang yan ng over or under kung mali ang pagsukli sa mga cash transactions. So, the flow chart of a point-of-sale system is shown in slide number 44. Now, when you talk about engineering using electronic data interchange or EDI, this helps to expedite transactions. The customer's computer determines that inventory is needed. It selects a supplier with whom the business has a formal business agreement, and it dials the supplier's computer and places the order. The exchange is completely automated. So, hindi mo na kailangan pumunta dun sa store to reorder or to fill up any form. Everything is done electronically, automatically. Okay? There's no human intervention or management here. So an example of such flowchart is shown in slide number 46. Okay? Now, re-engineering using the internet. Typically, no formal business agreements exist as they do in EDI. Most orders are made with credit cards, mainly done with email systems, and thus a turnaround time is necessary. Intelligent agents are needed to eliminate this time lag. Security and control over data is a concern with internet transactions. Now, let's look at control considerations in computer-based accounting systems. First, you have to consider authorization. In real-time systems, authorizations are automated. Program decision rules must be closely monitored. Segregation of functions, consolidation of tasks by the computer is common. Protect the computer programs, and it also necessitates coding, processing, and maintenance that should be separated. Now, when it comes to supervision, in the point-of-sale system, the cash register's internal tape or database is added form of supervision because you can check if kung nagbalanse yung benta at saka yung report. Okay? Access control, magnetic records are vulnerable to both authorized and unauthorized exposure and should be protected. They must be limited, file accessibility, or they must have safeguards and monitor for the computer programs. So these are the considerations we need to look at when we use computer-based accounting systems. Now, when we talk about accounting records, this rests on the reliability and security of stored digitalized data. So, of course, garbage in, garbage out. Pag mali yung na-encode na data, then the output will be garbage. Okay? Accountants should be skeptical about the accuracy of hard copy printouts. Backups are necessary. The system needs to ensure that backups of all the files are continuously kept. So they should be done on a daily basis, preferably. Independent verification is also necessary. They consolidate accounting tasks under one computer program, and they can remove traditional independent verification controls. To counter this problem, perform batch control balancing after each run, produce management reports and summaries for end users to review. Now, let's look at PC-based accounting systems. Okay, uh, they're used by small firms and some large decentralized firms. They allow only one or few individuals to perform entire accounting function. Most systems are divided into modules controlled by a menu-driven program. So ito yung mga, sometimes ito yung mga off-the-shelf na programs na pwede mong i-download or i-upload sa iyong laptop, and then that laptop is your accounting system itself. So it's PC-based, okay? Most systems are divided into modules controlled by a menu-driven program such as, ano may mga modules niya? General ledger, inventory control, payroll, cash disbursements, purchases and accounts payable, cash receipts, and sales order. So what are the control issues using a PC-based accounting system? Well, there are three main issues. Let's talk about them. First would be the segregation of duties, because uh, only one person has access to all of those modules, so that's going to be difficult. Okay, so they tend to be inadequate and should be compensated for with increased supervision. Okay, so dapat meron nagsusupervise dun sa nag-ooperate ng PC. Detailed management reports and frequent independent verification. Access control. Access controls to the data stored on the computer tends to be weak also. No? Methods such as encryption and disk locking devices should be used para hindi siya madaling mapasok or magamit o ma-access ng ibang tao na walang kinalaman sa negosyo. Okay? Accounting records. Computer disk failures cause data losses. External backup methods need to be implemented to allow data recovery. That's why nowadays, most files are recommended to be stored or saved or backed up in the cloud. Okay, so very important yon. So most systems now have that capability. Now, for the question for this round, question number 7, we have a little case here. Pumupunta ba kayo sa mga groceries or supermarkets? So if you are going to these establishments quite often, or you've experienced going to them, di ba nakakabwisit kung minsan yung nakapila ka, may babayaran ka, may gusto kang bilhin, tapos may problema dun sa item, nagtatagal, mahaba yung pila, no? So, nagtatagal kasi maraming problema kung minsan sa mga produktong binibenta nila. For example, napansin ng kahera na yung item na binili mo, broken yung seal. So, na-tamper. So, hindi niya ma-read, no? Yung barcode. Okay? O kaya kung minsan yung item itself is defective. O kaya naman expired na. Okay? O kaya hindi mabasa yung barcode. Okay? O kaya yung item walang barcode itself. Okay? So those are examples of problems that you encounter in the grocery, right? So, kung minsan napakapangit ng layouting pa sa grocery, yung gusto mong bumili ng condensed milk, gusto mong bumili ng powdered milk, gusto mong bumili ng fresh milk, pero napansin ko yung isang supermarket magkakaiba ng location. Okay? Ng tatlong klase ng milk. Bakit hindi na lang magkakasama lahat ng milk dun sa milk section, di ba? So, again, poor layouting is a problem also. Or kung minsan, yung product labels mali, no? So, minsan gusto kong bumili ng spaghetti, so pupunta ako doon sa spaghetti area, pero hindi naman spaghetti naka-label, no? Doon sa produkto, no? So, something else. So, again, mali-mali pa kung minsan yung prices na nakalagay. Okay? Alam nila na nag-markdown na sila, pero hindi updated yung mga nakalagay sa mga barcodes, for example. Okay? Or may mga discounts na binibigay na out of promotion, pero mali rin ang mga barcoding nila. Okay? So again, those are examples of problems that you can possibly encounter in a supermarket. Now, here's the task. Here's the question I need you to answer in the comment section below. First, identify one specific problem that you actually experience, or maybe someone in your family has actually experienced. And then, identify what could have caused it. Ano kaya yung reason bakit nangyari yon? Okay? So, balikan mo yung lesson natin. Look at the flow of transaction, no? In a particular outlet, for example. Okay? Yung flow chart. And then, what would you suggest should be done to prevent such problem from happening again? Okay? I repeat, You need to answer this in 3 sentences only. Identify one problem that you have experienced concerning products in a supermarket when you're buying one. Example of a problem that you encounter. Second, identify the cause. Bakit nangyari yon? Bakit kaya pwedeng nangyari yung ganon? At pangatlo, what is your suggestion to prevent it from happening again? Okay? Remember, 3 sentences only. I'll see you in video lecture number 8. Bye!